but mainly for a payment product like PayPal,
payment gateway,
which is in Brazil only.
Magento is PHP.
Magento is PHP.
So the payment gateway for services in Brazil. Are you probably going to go for it?
Yeah, I'll go for it. Yeah. I will discuss like the goal of the presentation is pretty much give some background or some comparison about Magento and WooCommerce. WooCommerce, the WordPress plugin for e-commerce, and yeah, I have like 10 years of experience with Magento and a couple years of experience with WooCommerce and WordPress. And I'm just bringing some of my feelings feelings about both and what I like of one and what I don't like of other. And yeah, pretty much, and to give you some insights for you. And yeah, I don't know if you usually do it here, but yeah, I would like to begin the acknowledging the traditional owners of the custodian and custodians of the land. I think it's the Gabi people here, right? Yeah, and the Gini Bauer, and pay my respects to their elder, past and present. Well, the background, I introduced myself a little bit here, but yeah, I have like half of my life working with PHP, a bit more of 10 years with Magento, and back then in Brazil, where I came from. So please let me know if you don't understand what I'm saying, okay? And I do my best. And yeah, I moved to Australia with my wife in 2017. Father, husband, runner. Well, I'm pretty much a developer where, like you said, all of my customers are in Brazil. So I run two different kind of business. One is payment integrations for Magento and WooCommerce, and the other business is an education platform where I teach about Magento and more recently about Next.js and also WooCommerce. So what is Magento? As Magento is one of the e-commerce platforms that was very popular back then in 2008. It was created in 2008 by this guy named Roy Rubin and his company. It was sold to eBay. It was sold to a private group, and finally in 2018 was sold to Adobe. Now a part of that is called Adobe Commerce today. They made three different products of this, like Adobe Commerce, that is the enterprise version. They have Adobe Commerce Cloud, which is kind of a Shopify, but for larger enterprise. And the open source that remains with the same name, Magento Open Source. It's built in PHP. It uses PHP and MySQL, just like WooCommerce and WordPress. It's open source. You can download, you can install, but it's not as easy as WordPress and WooCommerce. And I will talk more about that later. And today it's more known as Adobe. And on the other hand, we have the WooCommerce, which is a plugin for WordPress, created in 2011 by a team developer. And it pretty much adds e-commerce functionality to the most popular CMS that you are very familiar, that is WordPress. Magento was very bigger, like it was huge in the 2020, I would say about 2020, as we can see. WooCommerce starts, I think it was a bit earlier than that, like 2019, we start seeing like WooCommerce getting bigger than Magento, and even other players getting bigger than Magento. Back then in 2019, 2018, I would say that probably 3 in every 10 stores was built with Magento, even comparing to other solutions like Shopify or any other bigger solutions like IBM and Oracle, etc. What went wrong? That's what I believe that went wrong. Why Magento was bigger and now some of you maybe not even know what is Magento. It's because of some poor decisions back then. Imagine that you have WordPress today, and suddenly they are launching the WordPress 7.0, and they decide to do something completely different from what you have today, and they are going to make every single theme and plugin that you have, it's not compatible to the new WordPress 7.0. that's what they did with Magento pretty much. And we have the biggest, like we have a huge marketplace, which was the Magento Connect. It was pretty much the place where all the plugins and themes were hosted. And they said, okay, you have like 1 year, we are moving to this new Magento 2 version, and we are going to like eliminate the Magento Connect. Now, if you want to do, you have to do it for Magento 2. At that time, Magento 2 was full of bugs, was not ready to the market. It was very complex, more complex than Magento 1. It is too complex, much more complex than WordPress and WooCommerce. But that's what I believe it was the biggest mistake. Like they killed Magento 1 too soon, and that's why Magento 2 is not so popular as Magento was before. So Magento finished the support for, they ended the support for Magento 1 in 2020. We still have some open source groups that still support Magento 1, like Magento Open Mage LTS, long-term support. So they are still very popular. I think in Australia we had Priceline that until last year were still using Magento 1, probably with the support of this community. I think it was one of the biggest cases of Magento in Australia. Could be other case, but I think this is the biggest case you had in Australia with Magento 1. Now we have Magento 2, which is now it's pretty nice. Now it doesn't have the same bugs or as much bugs as we had in 2020 when it was launched. It has more themes, more plugins. In Magento we call modules, not plugins. But the main difference of both platforms is that Magento was built for e-commerce, while WooCommerce is a plugin that adds e-commerce functionality to WordPress. Also, what went wrong with Magento is that now with Adobe, they are focusing more on the enterprise customers and not as much on the open source community and not caring as much as they should with the open source thing. Okay, and there is no easy migration. If you had a Magento store built in Magento 1, migrating your store to Magento 2 is a completely different platform. Nothing is compatible at all. Like it's completely different. It's not like you usually have in WordPress. Just click here to update, and you just close your eyes, and it's there. Most of the times with no errors. And Magento is not like that. So this is the present. Pardon me. This is the present. This is the market, the technologies that are in the marketplace of e-commerce today. We have WooCommerce with 37%, Shopify 27%, Squarespace with 11%, and Magento is down there in the 6th position with 4%. If you look at these numbers, we can see that Shopify is growing. We have Wix Commerce as well in Square. There are SaaS platforms. If we just look at the numbers, the open source platforms are still bigger than the SaaS, but they are not too far away to be a bigger thing. So I think we can still do a good job with WooCommerce to keep the numbers good for the open source, but the SaaS platforms, like James said, is getting more popular with the AI stuff. People put their hands on the code and doing the stuff by themselves. Are getting there. So pros and cons of Magento and WooCommerce. This is just a disclaimer. This is my opinion. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that, like I said, I work with Magento for 12 years now, and with WooCommerce for just maybe 4-5 years. I have my biases, I think. Okay, so probably something that I'm telling here is not. You maybe say, "Oh, that's not right. That's WooCommerce is better." I'm pretty sure you can all point the finger. That's not true. WooCommerce is better on that. Maybe this is just my opinion. Okay. So I named a few categories here to evaluate both of them. Which one is easier to install? So pretty sure WooCommerce wins on this topic. Like I said, Magento became very complex, especially Magento 2. I see many agencies that start open source projects with Magento. They just are used to PrestaShop, WordPress, other open source software built in PHP and MySQL. And a customer came to them, I have this Magento store, I want you to support it. And they said, yeah, that's okay. I just Google it. It's PHP and it's open source. I'm in it. Yeah, it's fine. And then they spent like 3 weeks just to install Magento on their local environment because it requires OpenSearch. It requires specific versions of PHP for specific versions of Magento. It requires specific version for MySQL or MariaDB. And Elasticsearch, no, now it's not Elasticsearch if you are using this version of Magento 2, it's OpenSearch. If you are putting on Amazon, you need to use Aurora. And if you are going to, whatever, like you need to install Redis as well. And some kind of queue processors like RabbitMQ, and the things just got more complex. It doesn't run on Windows. You need to install it using virtualized environments. So the thing is not as easy as most of agents are used to with PHP and open source. And so that's why I think WooCommerce wins on that one. Number of plugins and themes, the same. WooCommerce is the winner because, like I said, they just killed our marketplace of plugins and themes. But honestly, I think even back then, we wouldn't be bigger than WordPress at this topic. Like the marketplace of WordPress is huge. Like you have plenty of stuff there. You pretty much got everything covered, I think, with WooCommerce and WordPress. Quality of plugins and themes in the marketplace. I'm sorry, Magento wins on this topic, and I can see you're agree with that. And
it's almost a negative the amount of plugins that are available for WooCommerce because some of them are just trash.
Yeah, exactly. It's
a blessing and a curse, so that's how. That's
right. Yeah, 100%. But weeding through the storm,
yeah.
sometimes just painful.
Yeah, I can imagine. I published I published a plugin and a module in both marketplaces. WordPress, it took 100 days for the first review came through, and they said, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Okay, I can fix. I publish it. Once you publish a plugin in the marketplace, you can do whatever you want. So the first time you publish is harder, but once you are there, you can do pretty much anything you like. You can make it worse, you can make it unsafe, you can do pretty much whatever you like. On the other hand, on Magento, like you have the same thing for the initial version. It's a pain, like you have to go through market review, for technical reviews, etc. But every single version you launch there, you go through automated tests, like, and it's very nice. Like they test it through different versions of Magento, automated tests, and they usually came back like 10 minutes later saying, oh, this broke this version of Magento. Here's the log, here's what broke it. Here's the video, if you want to see the video of the task breaking. Here it is. And this is the exception, line, etc. This is what we did. And after going through the automated tests, it goes through manual tests. Yes, open source software, like just a new version, like 4.1 and to 4.2, like it's a minor version, it goes through manual review. There's this guy, like I just got my plugin rejected there, and there was the video of this guy, I think it's from Pakistan or India. Oh, here it is, I just installed your module and just click it, and I can't do the checkout anymore because of this exception. I said, wow, that's nice. Okay. So they are testing better than I am. So it's harder, but the quality of plugins and modules you got on the marketplace is much better. Cheaper. WooCommerce is cheaper than Magento, even on the open source. Both are open source, but the amount of servers or infrastructure you need on the Magento is bigger than WooCommerce and WordPress. Also, to maintain an e-commerce store with Magento, it's usually more expensive than keeping a WordPress or a WooCommerce store because of the cost of servers and also because of the cost of developers and so on. Where we are? Yes, and that's related to the previous questions. Like Magento pays better for developers and agencies, meaning that if you are an agency and you are selling Magento stores, you're probably getting, or at least charging more than if you are selling for WooCommerce stores and this kind of stuff. The same goes for developers. If you are a Magento developer, you will earn more than a WordPress or WooCommerce developer. Just for reference, Magento base salary in Australia is $110,000 per year, according to Glassdoor in January of this year, and WooCommerce is 62 to 80 in March. And the same goes for for stores. And so if you are an agency and you want to do stores for Magento, you probably get more money from that. So I think Magento is a winner in this case. Out of the box e-commerce features, that's another win for Magento, meaning Magento was built for e-commerce. So since the day one you install Magento, you have plenty of stuff there, like have promotions, have integrations, have anything you can imagine, like in terms of payments integration, it comes with some integrations. WooCommerce, I think it also comes with some integrations out of the box. But if you go with the features of an e-commerce, Magento is much more complete, or has much more features than WooCommerce. I'm not saying that, there is something in Magento that you can't do with WooCommerce. I'm not saying that. You can pretty much have a plugin for anything. But if you try to just match the same features you have on Magento with WooCommerce, you probably need some thousand of plugins there. And I'm not kidding. Like, it's really huge, the amount of things you can do with just vanilla Magento installation. Easier to integrate. I think both are winners. WordPress has its API. I think it's REST APIs. Magento has REST APIs for everything. They also have GraphQL APIs for many stuff. And it's easier to integrate pretty much with both of them. You can read orders, customers, integrate with your ERP. You probably have plugins and modules to integrate with particular kind of software for both platforms. Easier to customize, WordPress for sure. I started developing a plugin to WordPress, and I said, okay, now let's add the shipping functionality. Let's build up a shipping plugin here. And in a single afternoon, I had a first version of that, and I said, what? It's impossible. And you can pretty much write a plugin with a single file in WordPress, which is impossible to do with Magento. Even if you are the best PHP developer in the world, you will not learn Magento in one day, and you probably will never get your first plugin or first module done in less than a week, I would say. Where we are. Easier to learn, the same thing, like it's much easier to understand what WooCommerce does and WordPress does. It's easier to find how the things are, where the things are in WordPress and WooCommerce than in Magento. Magento is full of XMLs and dependency injection and other complex stuff, I would say. So it's easier to learn WordPress than Magento. Made for e-commerce, Magento is a winner. Safer if not updated. I need to put a bigger highlight on this one because I'm not saying that you shouldn't update your Magento store or your WooCommerce store. But what I heard and what I saw is that if you don't update your WordPress installation, like if they have a security breach, and the next day your store is hacked and you have got a lot of issues with that. It's not the same in Magento. You can have, of course, we have different cases in the past where thousands of Magento stores got hacked because of a security issue, but this is less often to happen than in WordPress and WooCommerce. Of course, because we have less people using Magento nowadays. It's like MacBooks and Windows. We have less people using MacBooks, and so you may not need an antivirus for Mac, while you need a lot of antivirus and that stuff for Windows. Updates break things more often. WooCommerce and WordPress, like I said, it's the winner because it's easier to upgrade. Like you can just click there, and most of the times it won't break your website or your store, even in production. That's what I see a lot. people don't have a staging environment on their WooCommerce stores. They only have the production environment. They are very confident that every time they click to update, even to a bigger version, nothing will break. The website will still be there. And okay, I think you are happier than the people using Magento in that spectrum. Easier and cheaper to maintain for sure. WooCommerce, you can host pretty much anywhere. A small store. You can't host a small store with Magento anywhere. And I think this is the main thing that makes WordPress so popular these days. WordPress and WooCommerce, any person that is not a developer can go there, press Ctrl F and find the thing that they want to change and just go there and change. That's not the case for Magento. You can try to find the things you want to. Oh, I just want to change the color of a button. That's not easy. You have to compile CSS, have to compile Magento, clean 12 different types of caches and stuff, and you still don't see the button change that color. So when I first started with WordPress and I was just looking at that and I started, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. This is, wow, how this can be so popular? This is terrible. It's poorly designed. And then I realized that, okay, I heard from one of the WordPress, I think it was from a core team of the developer of WordPress, and it was on a discussion group, and they said, okay, WordPress was initially built for users, not for developers. The meaning, the goal is like a user can use that stuff, don't require to be a developer. On the other hand, Magento, you must be a developer to develop for Magento. So pretty sure that is a win for WooCommerce. By the end, the winner is, and this, I think you have an agency, right? And you want to be a store owner, and you are an agency. Who else here is an agency or a developer? Agency? Developer? Agency/developer, and yeah. But the thing is, I think if you try to, in the next slides pretty much, like I'm saying that the winner is you, no matter if you are a developer or an agency, or even a store owner, because you can make money of this situation, of these various platforms or this competition. You can make a good money of that or take advantage of that in many different ways. And I try to put in a way that you can earn or you can make a win, whether you are a merchant or a developer or an agency. Okay, so if you are a merchant and you are picking up a platform, so you are a winner because you have plenty of platforms to choose. Now you have Squarespace as well, Shopify, and you pretty much can choose a SaaS platform and start your store tomorrow. Or you can go with the open source. You have good options like Magento and like WooCommerce, and we have, like, you probably should ask especially some people that are specialized on that particular case, and try to find which platform is best for your case. Every store has its own needs, and as a solution architect, I can pretty much say that Magento is not for everyone, WordPress is not for everyone, WooCommerce is not for everyone, even Shopify or whatever platform you are going to be, it's not built for everyone. It's not the best for any kind of store. And just find a solution architect that knows the platforms and help you choosing the right one for you. But the most important thing is, if you are a merchant and you are going to use open source software, try to own your own store. Meaning, if you are building a store with WooCommerce or PrestaShop or Magento or whatever open source platform you choose, make sure the code and the database is yours in the contract. So if you're not satisfied with Jamie is not doing a good job with you, or Neil is not doing a good job with you as your provider, you can just switch, you can just switch to Jamie, or switch to Neil, or switch to another company in the America, in the Pakistan, or whatever you want to. Or even you can switch platforms more easily. You have your own database. Just make sure someone provides you with a backup every day, or you have easy access to a backup of your files and databases, okay? These platforms are here to stay. It will only get better. We have AI now, like James said, like it's getting it's popping up, the development. We are going to see a lot of changes in the near future. And that's what I'm already seeing. I'm seeing like it's becoming much easier to make good plugins, good integrations, good softwares. And with that will come good features and it will make your life even easier. Even if you are not a developer or if you are not a professional developer, but you want to have a store using open source software, it's easier today to have it than it was last year, okay? If you are a developer, on the other hand, you can become an expert in some of the solutions that I show here. Like you can be a Magento developer and earn more money than a WooCommerce developer. Just kidding. But you can just become an expert in some particular segment or niche, or just create a solution to solve some problem. Let's say payment integrations, SAP integrations, or some kind of problem that you see in Australia that could be useful for WooCommerce owners or Magento owners and so on. Teaching others about what you learned is also a good way to take advantage of both platforms. Magento especially, because it's hard to learn. So if you learn a little bit and you teach that, you probably can get some advantage of that. Of course, you can become a good professional and become searchable for agents and merchants. So people will get to you and bring new demands to you, like LinkedIn. Just write some LinkedIn posts about what you are learning, about what you are doing. This is a way of getting more views and get noticed, pretty much. Or create a blog in Magento. Don't do that. Create in WordPress, okay? Selling teams, selling modules and teams on Marketplace. We have plenty of Marketplace that you can put your customizations or plugins and just to make it reusable for other agencies and store owners. And of course, you can always sell by the hour, just becoming a freelancer on websites like Workana, Upwork, Guru, and so on. I think Neo hired some people on there.
I did Upwork for years, but I don't get to the point
No.
where I've switched completely to Hubstaff Talent.
Hubstaff Talent, yeah.
So it's mad.
Yeah, so you can be on Hubstaff Talent and get hired by Neo. Taxes, pretty much, I think. Yeah, some marketplaces you find more people specialized in Magento, in others you find more people specialized in marketing, others WooCommerce, and so on. And they charge different fees from both. They charge different fees for the people that are hiring and for the people that are getting hired. So it varies, and you just need to test them and see which one suits the best for you.
Good topic for next week.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I would like to see it.
I prepared a talk. It's called How many frogs do you have to kiss before you find a prince?
That's
A
true.
lot of frogs.
Yeah. But I think if you are going for freelancing on those websites, we have an advantage of being in Australia, like because you can charge a little bit more. Yeah. Just because you are here, not because you can be. Yeah, you know what I mean. If you're an agency, you can win and then you can win in different ways here. If you are an agency and you want to take advantage of this e-commerce environment, you can, like the developers, you can just be an expert in some particular niche. You can just focus, for example, in building a single solution that fits most of the pool maintenance business, or the aviation business. So you can build something for Magento or WooCommerce or PrestaShop that will fill a gap in these niches, and you can just become specialized in those niches with open source technologies and stuff. Or just building some teams that are good for, let's say, pool maintenance web stores, like I put in the slide. Or you can just becoming an expert only in big e-commerce. That's another strategy that I saw working in the past. I think it can still be applied for today. If you are an agency, you usually have like 20 small clients that you work with, and they give you this amount of work or headaches, let's put that way. But if you have a bigger client, like it may be the same amount of headache and work as your other 20 small customers, but you earn much more money with one big client. And once you get one big client, other big clients will come. Like I saw this happening in the past in a company that that I worked before. They got the biggest e-commerce store with Magento back then. I think it was one of the biggest in the world actually. And after that, they only get like bigger stores, and they sold the company for a couple millions. Offering hosting, updating, support. I think that's pretty much what you are doing here, right? So you offer hosting and updating and support and marketing services around this e-commerce. This is a good way to build recurring cash flow. Creating modules and teams, just like the developer. Making partnerships with plugins and service providers, so you can just go to, I don't know, let's say Stripe, and just make a deal with them, so you get paid to referring new customers to them, and build a better plugin for them, and so on. So this is a way that you can make more money and get more revenue on your business as well. And another thing that many agencies, I think, ignore is about the automation thing. They don't reuse their work. They just rebuild the same stuff every single day. Don't have a proper inventory of what they did in the past. So I think it can be more automated, and it could be something that you should look into if you are an agency. Automate your tasks so you don't break things, but I don't think you break many stuff with WordPress and WooCommerce here, right? Yeah. So that's the ways that I think you can win, whether you are a merchant or store owner or an agency. And final words about WooCommerce and Magento. Like I said, I'm in Magento since 2011 and WooCommerce since 2019. I spent the last 8 years just teaching, writing, and developing for Magento. Most recently for WooCommerce, I'm more recently writing for WooCommerce as well. But I have mixed feelings about WooCommerce. Some of them I just shared here with you today. But I really think that WooCommerce is doing an amazing job on the e-commerce business, and you can see that on the market share. WooCommerce is growing. I think Automatic, that is the company behind WordPress and this stuff, are doing an amazing job. It will only get better. Magento will also get better. It's also getting better on the other end. I still think that WooCommerce is getting a bigger market share because it's more focused on medium and small stores. Okay, you can build bigger stores with WooCommerce. You can build small stores with Magento, yes. But I think because of that, WooCommerce, or one of the reasons why WooCommerce is getting bigger, because it's really doing a pretty amazing job technically and on the marketing aspect of as well. And having you guys like agencies and developers building more plugins for WooCommerce and WordPress just get it what it is today. Just got it what it is today. And I can see that WooCommerce is today in kind of a way that I felt that way when I started with Magento and saw Magento like it was in the golden ages. So I think that today is the golden ages of WooCommerce. Okay, so I think that you are surfing the golden age of WooCommerce and WordPress, and I don't think that Automatic will screw this up just like we did with Magento. So I think you will have plenty of things to go with WordPress and WooCommerce if you want to go with the e-commerce on the e-commerce side. I think most of you here are with WordPress, not with e-commerce, if am I right? Yeah? No? Yeah. Do you work with, the agents here work with e-commerce as well? Like very, very strong with e-commerce?
I'd say 25% of people.
25%? That's pretty good.
It's more than you think.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, and I think that you have plenty of market to grow, especially in Australia, where I see many small business not having an e-commerce store, or even not having even a booking system with the things, you know, like I'm talking about restaurants and aviation stuff or whatever you like to. Like if you have something that requires a booking thing, for example, or you can just sell online, you know, like just small stores that are not online selling their things. I think that's the niche. That's something that you can explore, and I think that WooCommerce is probably the best platform for most of this kind of case. And I'm confident that you are doing a good job, and I'm pretty sure that WooCommerce will still be bigger than Magento in the near future, unless they screw it up as they did with Magento. But yeah, that's my particular thoughts. That's my final thought about both. I'm really enjoying working with WordPress and with WooCommerce stores. I'm in touch with more than 10,000 store owners in Brazil, working with WordPress. And yeah, I can see that is a big marketplace. It's getting bigger than Magento. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you are happy to have that. Thank you, guys.
So, thanks for a great talk. You should consider presenting at WordCamp Sydney.
Oh no.
So if you haven't heard, WordCamp Sydney is happening in is it November? And I booked my ticket. WordCamps are fabulous. They cost $70, right? And it's 2 days. And it's in the centre of Sydney. But they're looking for presentations. Now, the part I liked was the comparison of, WooCommerce and Magento. And 2008 Magento started. WordPress was forked from B Cafe Log about 2005. Right? I started 2009. That was really it was really good.
The thing is, I think WordPress maybe lose market share or lose the RFPs or the request also on the biggest scenarios. And I had a boss back then in Brazil that he said wants to be like, no manager is fired for a high Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like, meaning you are a big company in Australia, let's say, maybe one. Or EGL. Okay? So you need to build an e-commerce and you are the tech guy responsible for picking a platform. If you go with WordPress and open source software and it just didn't work, don't work, you get fired. But if you pick up like Adobe, Microsoft, Demandware, IBM, Oracle, and spend like $10 million on that thing and it doesn't work, okay, that's different. But if you go with open source software with a small agency, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's less true. I go to a security meeting on the Sunshine Coast, which we're going to. There's quite a few people from the council, and they'll tell you the opposite now. That if you go with a proprietary system and you don't use open source, you will get in trouble because proprietary is less secure. Locked in, that they've been caught with locked-in contracts. In my early career was you don't get fired for using IBM, and it's moved on to Microsoft. But certainly in the Maroochydore Council, if you go with a proprietary application, you will be questioned. Yeah. Why aren't you using open source? Yeah. So look, let's have some question time, and then we'll still have some time for. You want to stop your?
If you want to, I can.